Hey guys, welcome to the ProGun live chat. Today is Saturday, October 4th, 2025. Give it a few minutes for other people to join and we'll get started. All right, people are starting to filter in now, so we'll get started shortly. All right, like always, it doesn't show me who's on the stream, so if you wouldn't mind stating your name or saying hello so I can acknowledge you. All right, we'll get started now. So we had a huge win for the Second Amendment rights on Tuesday of this week, and it was a big blow to the federal government. And hello, James Creech. Thank you for joining. It used to be illegal to carry a firearm on post office property. Well, on Tuesday this week, in Texas, a federal judge ruled that the government ban on carrying on post office property is unconstitutional. And hello to you, Harper. And Charlie, welcome to you too. Thank you all for joining. And this was a major win for Second Amendment rights. I don't know why it was ever illegal to carry on post office property, but that was a huge, huge win for us. We constantly fight for our Second Amendment rights, and we don't take them for granted, and we shouldn't get complacent about that. And thank you for that, dear Harper. I really appreciate that. And Joseph, I have a response to that, and I'll get to that in a minute. As part of being a gun owner, we need to fight for our Second Amendment rights all the time. I constantly reach out to my representatives, and you should be aware of what bills are being passed and who your representatives are. And I hope you have a great day too, Harper. There is a bill called H.R. 38, And I strongly urge you to reach out to your representatives and urge them to support that bill so we can get it passed in the House. H.R. 38 will allow CCW carry in all 50 states, and it does need to be done on a federal level. You can't have individual states doing whatever you want. So I would reach out, find out who your representatives are. I constantly reach out to my representatives all the time. So I'm just saying that part of being a gun owner is fighting for our rights. And if you're a gun owner and you do nothing about it, and they start chipping away at our Second Amendment rights, then you can't cry and complain about it. And I agree with you, Joe. The Second Amendment should not be eliminated. Unfortunately, the far left is always chipping away at our Second Amendment rights, and it just never ends. If you don't belong to an organization like Gun Owners of America or Firearms Coalition, I strongly urge you to do so. We need to fight all the time, and that's what we try to do here at Pro Gun, is fight for our Second Amendment rights. Jeffrey Oldham, here in Canada, it's only legal to have long. Yeah, that's a problem in Canada. I've been following the Canada gun laws for a while now. It's getting to be just as bad in Canada as the UK. If I take a while to get back to you here, I apologize. I try to read the comments as they go through, but sometimes they go very quickly and I can't see them. Okay, so Joseph Spaz, I've been reading a lot of messages on gun forums about the open and concealed carry debate, and honestly, there is no right or wrong way to carry a firearm. As long as people carry it, that's all I care about. And Grossimit YP, thank you for joining. Welcome back. And Bruce, I'm glad you found us too. If you guys haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate that. So anyway, the debate over open and concealed carry, I'm a data guy, and I constantly analyze data. And when I read these comments, both for and against open and concealed carry, it's just that everybody jumps on the damn bandwagon. Now, there's pros and cons to each, okay? And I think personally that you should have a combination of both. When you carry a firearm, you need to have situational awareness, and you need to be aware of what's going on around you. And when I hear the argument that, if you open carry, you're a target, I'm just not buying that. I have not seen any data that proves that people that were open carrying got shot in the back of the head because they were open carrying. And the people that are against open carry that keep using the excuse, it's the element of surprise. It's not an element of surprise. If you conceal carry, you're not surprising anybody. The bad guy is the one that surprises. Only the bad guy knows when he's going to attack. You don't know. So I'm just not buying that element of surprise thing. But that's neither here nor there. Um, if you open carry, there's certain areas that I won't open carry in. And well, I live in a rural area, okay? So I open carry most of the time here in Tennessee. But if I'm going to Memphis, I'm not going to open carry. If I'm going to an area that I'm not familiar with, I'm not going to open carry. And if I'm going to an area where I don't know anybody, I'm not going to open carry. But I just don't see why people that are for or against open or concealed carry need to criticize each other. I mean, all I care about is that you carry. And, for the people saying that if you open carry, people are going to take your gun, I was only able to find one video of a guy at a gas station. There is not enough data out there that suggests that people that are open carrying are getting their guns taken away and they're getting shot in the back of the head. When a lunatic walks into a store and starts shooting people, they're not going in there looking for people in the crowd that are carrying a gun. They just randomly start shooting. And I'm just not buying the fact that if you open carry, it makes you a target. Matter of fact, when I open carry, I bet you there's times that I may have been a target, but wasn't because they saw I have a gun. But that's just me and my 2 cents. This is a argument that is never going to end, and I don't even know why it is an argument. If you like to conceal carry, that's good for you. If you like to open carry, that's good for you too. You have to do what you're comfortable doing, but don't carry one way because somebody says it's not right. Don't carry another way because somebody says you shouldn't do it. It all comes down to your comfort level. Next thing I want to talk about is reloading. I don't know how many of you people reload, but I reload a lot of ammo. And I've had people ask me if it's worth reloading. If you're new to reloading, I don't think this is a good time to get into it because the prices on things are just so expensive since the pandemic. But it's not really about whether it's cheaper. It's about availability. I reload because, especially when I reload 10 millimeter and 45 ACP and 357 Magnum, in my local gun shops, I haven't seen 10 millimeter for a long time. That's why I reload. I reload only because I won't have an ammo shortage. I don't reload for 9 millimeter because, to be honest with you, I can go to the local gun stores here any day of the week, and for $9.99, I can get a box of 50 9 millimeter cartridges, so it's not worth the trouble. If you're thinking of reloading, I can tell you one thing. The initial outlay is going to cost you about $1,000. You're going to need a reloading press. You're going to need a powder measure. You need a set of calipers. You're going to need a set of dies for each caliber you reload. You're going to need a scale. And then the consumables, you're going to need gunpowder. You're going to need your bullets, and you're going to need cases. So I did the math, and I estimate that you're going to need to reload around 5,000 rounds to break even before you start reducing the price. And then, your time, especially on a single stage press, it's very time consuming to reload. I do it because I find it to be very therapeutic. And I agree with you, Grossman at YP. It's not for the money. It is very enjoyable, therapeutic, and gratifying. And I like the fact that I always have ammo. and you can experiment with different loads. I like the 10 millimeter. And when you find 10 millimeter ammo in the store, most of the time, that 10 millimeter ammo is really watered down to be almost like 40 caliber ammo. So, reloading on your own, you can reload hotter rounds, especially for 357 Magnum. There's also some calibers that are just hard to get. 45 Long Colt, for instance, or 44 Special. That's very expensive and hard to find. So, the benefit of reloading is really so that you just always have ammo. However, the primers have come down a lot. They used to be $40 to $50 a thousand before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, I've seen them as high as $200 a box. I was lucky. I went to Bass Pro last weekend, and I found large pistol primers for $49.99 for a box of 1,000. So that is coming down. And that is correct. People don't necessarily do the same things for the same reason. So with that being said, if there's any questions about reloading or any comments, you can enter them in now before we move on. We did this live stream for you guys so that we could share and exchange information. Mike P., I'll get to you in 1 minute. Yes, you can also reload for accuracy. I agree with that. That's a tough question, Mike. I guess the LGBT, or whatever the hell they call themselves, I guess they have the right to defend themselves just like we do. But I do see there seems to be a correlation between these transgender people and mass shootings. I'm all for the Second Amendment. So I guess I would say the LGBT people should be able to defend themselves just like you and I. And we have a lot of new people that joined our stream today, which I'm very happy about. Every week we get more and more new people, which is great. That's how our channel has been growing. In January, we only had 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting close to 7,000 now and hoping to get 10,000 by the end of the year. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our channel. We generate our revenue through monetization based on the number of videos watched and comments. So share our videos, like them, comment on them. The more revenue we generate, the more we can afford to buy firearms and accessories to review for you guys. So yeah, the Canada gun bans are they're just stupid. Any country that's trying to have an unarmed society, it's never a good thing for the people. Mr. Burns, what is the best powder for 6 millimeter? To be honest with you, I don't reload for rifles. And good morning to you, Michael. Thank you for joining. What I would recommend, Mr. Burns, is whatever powder you use, go to their website and get the load data. I use the Lee and the Lyman reloading book, and it's got loads for virtually every caliber handgun and rifle. My recommendation is to always go check the powder manufacturer's load data just to be safe. And I do not know what a N135 is. Sorry about that. So this is always an open forum. We do this for you guys to exchange information. So if anybody has firearms related questions or comments, feel free to use them because we can all benefit by that. Yes, Grossmine and YPT. I found for me, I use the Winchester 231 powder. So I go right to Hogden's website to get the load data because they constantly update it. But I do find that the Lee Reloading Guide and the Lyman have great information in there, and they have everything about lead, copper, jacketed bullets. Mike P., do you want to touch more on that topic? No, Mike P., go ahead. If you want to elaborate on that topic, please feel free to do so. N140 is powder. Okay, well, there's a lot of different powders out there on the market. I personally just use the Win 231 because I only reload for pistols, and I find that it works perfectly in 10 millimeter, 45 ACP, and 357 Magnum. And I just like to have one brand of powder laying on my workbench. I was lucky that RCBS reached out to me about a week or so ago, and they were purchased by Hogden, actually. And Joel Hogden reached out to me and asked me if I would review their RCBS powder funnel, which I did. And after I reviewed it, they sent me 2 bottles of Winchester 231 powder because they asked me what powder I use to reload. So I want to give a super thanks to Hogden for that. I really appreciate it. Today, I just received 1,000 bullets from Powder Valley. Steel Valley Casting. I personally like using the high-tech coated lead bullets. They don't foul out your barrel. They don't smell. They're cheaper. And I think 500 bullets is like 50-something bucks. And again, if I miss all the people that just log in, I apologize for that. The comments scroll by very quickly, so I don't always get to catch them, but I try to go through and acknowledge as many as I can. Same thing for your questions. Just be patient. I will get to you. MJK, average New Jersey gun owner. Yeah, we used to live in the communist state of New Jersey before we moved to Tennessee. So I feel your pain there. Devin, Taurus Judge. That's a very interesting gun. I used to have a Taurus Judge. I found it a lot of fun, but I did wind up getting rid of it for only one reason. The ammo was very expensive. 45 long Colt cost a fortune, and the 410 shotgun shells were very expensive as well. But it was a hell of a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't like having guns that I can't afford to shoot. I used to have a Charter Arms 44 Special, which I liked a lot. But again, I got rid of that because I couldn't afford to shoot it. And MJK, we used to live in Elmwood Park, Bergen County, about 15 miles from New York City. And we moved to the great state of Tennessee about 7 years ago. And good for you, Watts Vlog. Yeah, MJK. One of the main reasons that we left New Jersey is that in order to purchase a pistol in New Jersey, you need a pistol permit. And hello to you too, Knockout. So the problem with the pistol permit in New Jersey is that a copy of it goes to your local police department, state police. You get one, and your FFL gets one. Well, I got a letter in the mail once in December saying that if I didn't surrender my high-capacity magazines by December 28th, I would become a Class E felon, and they could confiscate my firearms. And that was the last straw. So we moved to the great state of Tennessee. You do not need a pistol permit. You do not need a firearms ID card. You can purchase as many guns as you want. You just go to the register and you pay for them. You can buy all the ammo you want. There's no magazine capacity. So, Mr. Burns, that's an interesting point, and I agree with you. I bought a Uberti El Patron cowboy gun, chambered in .45 long Colt, and it's a replica of the Colt Peacemaker. And with all of the .45 cowboy shooting and reenactments, you would think there would be, a decent price on the .45 long Colt, but it's still like $60 a box. And Knights Hospitaller, God bless you too. And thank everybody for joining. I really appreciate this. There's a lot of other things you guys could be doing on your Saturday afternoons, and we appreciate that you spend your time with us. So thank you for that. And for those of you who are new, we do this live stream every Saturday from 12 o'clock noon until 1 o'clock Eastern. And MJK, what's my everyday carry? That's a very tough question. I have a couple of my favorite everyday carries, but if you're talking about for concealment, I recently purchased a Savage Stance XR, and it is a micro compact. I used to carry my Springfield Hellcat Pro, but I would have to say now my favorite concealed carry gun is the Savage Stance XR. I've done a video on that if you want to check it out. I now prefer that over the Hellcat Pro. It's a great gun for the money. Yeah, even though we live in Tennessee, 357 Magnum ammo is just not that plentiful. So I reloaded about 5,000 rounds of 357 Magnum. As I've mentioned in a few of the live streams, I'm really going to look for a lever action rifle chambered in 357 Magnum because I had so much ammo available that it would be easier. And that's another problem. This bullshit hazmat fee. The government started charging hazmat fees on primers and powder, and it's just ridiculous that, you'll find a bottle of powder for $30, and then they charge you a $30 hazmat fee, and the hazmat fee costs as much as the powder. It's just ridiculous. Same thing with the primers. Every once in a while, Powder Valley has a hazmat-free week, and I purchase it from there. But I found that if you go to like Bass Pro, where I got my primers last week, they don't charge a hazmat fee, so I no longer get powder and primers delivered to my house just because of that. That hazmat fee just really pisses me off. All right, so being this is an open forum, at this point, we're open to any questions or comments that you want to make related to firearms. Like I say all the time, everybody doesn't know everything, but everybody knows something. So if you have a good or bad experience with a firearm or accessory, leave your comments. You could save somebody else the aggravation or encourage them to buy it. So, what is my favorite gun? Okay. Bamsey, what I'll do is I'll give you my favorite guns in each category. For a revolver, my favorite revolver is the Colt Python. For my rifle, it is the Smith & Wesson M&P FPC folding carbine pistol. My favorite shotgun is my Mossberg 500 Persuader. And my favorite pistol is my Glock 20 10 millimeter. And y'all could respond to his comments because that's just my opinion. I'm sure you all have favorites out there, and I'd like to hear them myself because, every time I go to the gun store, it gets harder and harder for me to find a firearm I want. And I guess that's one of the problems when you have a lot of firearms. It just gets harder and harder to find. It's also a little frustrating that all the new cool stuff is coming out in 9 millimeter. So there's not many 45 and 10 millimeters that are coming out that are brand new. But that's just me. I prefer the 45 and the 10, hence Pro Gun 45. But I love these discussions that we have. I like being able to converse with my subscribers and viewers. I just happen to like this connection, and apparently a lot of you all do too, and that's why people join this every week. And to do a time check, it is 12:25. We do this live stream every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern till 1 o'clock. So we're here every week for you guys to join us. Every week we get more and more guys joining. So I appreciate that as well. And welcome from Iceland. Yeah, I find it ironic that, it's difficult to get a gun in the UK, but they all run around stabbing each other. And it's not stopping the problem. Matter of fact, it's easier to kill people with knives. You don't need training. You don't have to reload. And it doesn't make any noise. So, they're not shooting each other, but they're running around stabbing each other. So that's just another stupid attempt by the government to have an unarmed society. And you know what? I am going to remove that user with the swastika. This live stream is for you guys, and if people are doing something that's offensive to any of my viewers and subscribers, I will remove them. Last week we had someone from the UK, and it was pretty entertaining because Um, they did a lot of bantering, and that's fine too. We can all argue and we can all disagree, and I'm all for a argument as long as it's respectful. It actually has a lot of benefits to it because we get to hear other people's point of views. So I'm not opposed to an argument as long as it doesn't get personal and uh, hateful. I'm all for that. All right, and it's approaching 12:30, so we got a half hour left. We could fit a lot of comments and questions in there. Again, if I failed to acknowledge anyone, I apologize for that. It scrolls by very quickly, and I have a hard time finding them. Same thing with your comments. If I ignored your comments, I will get to you. Just be a little patient. And again, on this live stream, we don't have a set agenda. It's whatever you guys want to discuss. So this is your time now. So feel free to enter a topic and start a conversation or ask a question or make a comment, as long as it's gun related or related to the Second Amendment. I'm sure you all get tired of hearing me talk after a while, so this is your turn. And Steve, happy birthday, brother. And I'm very happy that you bought a 1911. I'm a huge 1911 fan. I've done a lot of reviews on them, and good for you. 1911 is one of my favorite guns, and it's one of the most reliable guns out there. So if you don't mind me asking, Steve, which 1911 did you buy? And to answer your question, John's Life, the only blowbacks I have are the air pistols that I used to train with. I don't have much experience with them. And Jerry2927, hello to you from the UK. Thank you for joining. And Glock 36. That's one of the few Glocks I do not have. And I always like to hear what guns you guys like, because I'm always looking for something new. And to be honest with you, not that I'm a Glock hater, because I own a lot of them. And I guess that's the problem, is I own too many Glocks, so I'm always looking for something else. TSUS 1911 is a great quality gun for the money. Smoky Mountain Guns and Ammos had their TSUS 1911 on sale for $299 for about 6 months now. I own one myself. It's a great quality gun for the money, and it's better than the Rock Islands. I know a lot of people own the Rock Islands, and there's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, and I agree, Steve. It's always good to have a steel forged gun. That's why I like the 1911s. They do weigh a lot. I just recently purchased the Springfield Emissary. That is one of my favorite 1911s, but it's extremely heavy at 40 ounces. I did purchase the Ruger SR 1911 with an aluminum frame, and I love that. It's much lighter, and and you don't get a sore hip from carrying it? Yes, John Hedden, that is a great question. I can recommend a good speed loader. In my opinion, there is one and only, and it is the Maglula speed loader. Sometimes it's called the Uplula. It is by far the best and easier way of loading magazines, especially if you have arthritis or you don't have strength in your hands and your fingers. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Search my videos, and I've done a few reviews on that. And it is the Maglula. And again, sometimes they call it the Uplula, but you won't be sorry. You can quickly load any magazine from 9mm up to 45 ACP, including 10mm, and they're about $30. It's worth every penny. Yes, Steve, I agree. I went and I bought from Birchwood Casey. They make these paint sticks for front sights, and they're almost fluorescent, and they do a great job. And thanks for that, John. Again, if you guys want to throw out any ideas for pistols that you would recommend that are not Glocks, because I own way too many of them, I'm interested in what you guys think. I don't have any FNs, and if you have recommendations for anything in 45 or 10mm, I'd really like to hear that. I'm thinking of getting the Smith & Wesson Performance Center 10mm. One of my favorite folding pistol carbines is the Smith & Wesson 9mm, and they just came out with that in 10mm, so I'll probably get one of those eventually too. I'm not sure I've shot the Model 15, but I have shot quite a few Dan Wessons back in the day in 357 Magnum. I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but Dan Wesson is now owned by CZ. They purchased Colt as well. I'm a big fan of CZ. They do make a 45 ACP. A little surprised that they haven't come out with a 10mm yet, but I'm hoping that's just a matter of time. And when I bought my Springfield Echelon, it was only available in the full-size duty weapon at that time. But now they also have a compact, so I wish I would have waited and got the compact. I feel for you, John. I remember those days when we used to live in New Jersey, waiting for those damn pistol permits. You know, back in the day, I used to be able to drop off my pistol permits, you know, in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon, and got them the same day. And then, you know, you had to make an appointment. And when we lived in Elmwood Park, they dragged their feet. I mean, my wife was waiting 6 months for hers, and they basically told us, you know, it wasn't on their priority list. And Terminator, have you done any martial arts? That's an interesting question, and I'm curious why you asked that. And the answer to that is yes. I've been training in martial arts for about 45 years now. I have a 5th degree black belt in Taekwondo. I have a 2nd degree black belt in Mudokwan. I have a 1st degree black belt in Chungdokwan. I have a black belt in Shorin-ryu, and I also have trained in um, Tai Chi and Northern Shaolin. And I'm just curious, Terminator, how could you tell? It can't be because I'm fat. Um, I used to have my own martial arts school way back in the day in New Jersey until um, liability insurance got so much. Um, yeah, I do try to practice as often as I can. Um, my instructor, God rest his soul, passed away, and being that I'm a fifth degree black belt, it's just difficult to find a teacher that has got a higher level than I do. Um, I appreciate that compliment there, Terminator. Um, I started my martial arts training when I was 12. I got my first degree black belt when I was 15. Um, I got my fifth degree black belt in 2008, and I don't have a desire to go any higher. I just train on my own now. Um, but I find it very enjoyable. Um, I did like the Shaolin, Northern Shaolin Kung Fu and Tai Chi. I missed back in the day when I used to train. I trained old school, and my instructor, Duck Sung Sun, came here from Korea. Um, and back then, they were allowed to hit us. They hit us with bamboo sticks. We used to spar full contact. And then all of a sudden, parents got sue happy. If people got injured, liability insurance went up. And, now they teach kids like they're a bunch of pansies. They're not allowed to fight full contact anymore. Um, we sparred full contact except to the head. 313 Collector, and congratulations on you too, sir, for getting into Kempo. Kempo is another great martial art. I like them all. I haven't tried Kempo or Judo, but I have trained in most of the other ones. I do prefer the Korean styles of martial arts. They tend to be a little bit more physical and aggressive. All right, we have 20 minutes left on the stream, so um, keep your comments going, guys. Again, if you have any suggestions for firearms other than Glocks, um, I've heard, FN was good, but I don't have any experience about that. Yes, I agree, Terminators. Back in the day, we used to fight full contact because if you don't fight full contact and you go out in the street, you're never going to know if you could take a hit. We didn't worry about scoring a point because points are subjective. Um, so, yeah, I think these schools now that are not allowing people to fight full contact is only because of insurance reasons. But, you need to be able to take the hit as well as give one out. But back in the day, our instructor used to hit us with bamboo sticks. If we screwed up in class, they made us do push-ups on our knuckles with sandpaper. You can't do that shit anymore. You'll just get sued. But anyway, let's get back to the gun topics. Again, there any pistols or revolvers you guys would recommend to myself or others? I'd really like to hear, especially non-Glock. Terminator, that's a good question. My most fun gun to shoot is my Glock 20 10 millimeter. That thing really packs a wallop. My wife and I stayed at this place called Possum Trot. It's here in Tennessee, and they have a bunch of cabins there with an outdoor range. And we bought some tannerite, and we had a ball with it. So I love the Glock 20. It's a little big and bulky to carry, but it's a lot of fun to shoot. And I never did shoot streak ammo, Steve. Most of the ammo I shoot is Federal, Blazer, Arms Corps. My carry ammo is normally the Hornady Critical Defense or Critical Duty, as well as the SIG. And I do have some Black Talon that was given to me by a friend of mine. That's for 45 ACP. So that's pretty much the only factory ammo. And Jay Sharp, I appreciate that. Thanks for your support. We fight for the Second Amendment all the time. If you guys want to help support our channel, become a member, we'd appreciate that. We try to support as many Second Amendment organizations as we can, fight for our rights. And Jay Sharp, you want to share your YouTube channel, you can do that. As long as it is a firearms or Second Amendment channel, please do that. I have no problem with that at all. We're all here to support each other. And 313 Collector, I'm glad you're pro Second Amendment. And like I said earlier, as a gun owner, we need to constantly fight for our Second Amendment rights. Don't get complacent because we could lose our rights in a heartbeat. So reach out to your representatives. I reach out to mine constantly and encourage them to vote for pro-gun bills and to vote against anti-gun bills. And as a gun owner, if you sit around and do nothing, you can't cry when they try taking your rights away. I mentioned earlier, it used to be illegal to carry a firearm in the post office or on postal property. I'll get right to you, Steve. But on Tuesday in Texas, a federal judge ruled that the government ban on carrying a firearm in a post office or postal property is unconstitutional. So that is a huge win for gun owners and a major blow to the federal government. Steve, why is my Glock 20 my favorite? Because the Glock 20 is the best 10 millimeter out there. The reason I like the 10 millimeter cartridge, it is the most powerful semi-automatic pistol you can get other than the Desert Eagle. It's one of the guns used by the Alaskan tour guides for grizzlies. It'll take down anything on 2 legs or 4, and that's why it's a lot of fun to shoot. And Jay Sharp, thank you also for subscribing to our channel. Greatly appreciate that. Well, the post office may be a private entity, but according to federal law, it used to be illegal to carry a firearm on post office property, inside, even mailing a letter. So that ruling by the Texas federal judge was major. Florida also had a major win last week. It is now legal to open carry a firearm in Florida. And that's awesome, Jay Sharp. I have two 10 millimeters as well. I have the Glock 20, and I just bought the Glock 29 about 2 weeks ago. I am looking into the Smith & Wesson Performance Center 10 millimeter. I find that the triggers on the Smith & Wesson pistols are a little gritty, but I'm going to have to try that out. I did look at the Springfield XD Elite. I'm not a fan on the Springfield XD products. I love Springfields, but the XD series is not their best work. I just find them, they feel very cheap. And no, you can't go wrong with a Glock there, Jay Sharp, but I got to tell you, and I'm actually going to release a video on it. You know, Glock has made its reputation for many, many years just on its name. I guess they got a proven track record. And Glock is like a cult. Glock could turn out the biggest piece of shit, and people are still going to buy it. Not that they would, because they don't have any junk. But I guess my point is that, you know, there's a lot of other guns on the market now that I would put up against the Glock any day. And Glock is not the only gun that's going to go bang every time. And I just find that there's just a lot of other guns on the market that offer more features for less money that are as good as a Glock. Now, granted, they don't have a 30-year history, but, you know, what are you supposed to do? Wait 30 years for a gun to be on the market before you buy it? I used to only own Glocks. And 2 or 3 years ago, my wife said to me, you know, maybe you should think about buying something that you don't have. And I took her advice, and I'm really glad I did, because I started getting into Springfields and PSAs and Savage, Smith & Wessons, and a lot of other guns I probably would have never bought if she didn't bring that up. So, and I'm glad I did start experimenting, because I have a lot of guns that I like as much or more than my Glock. And my biggest pet peeve with a Glock is that any gun being sold as a gun for personal defense should be optic ready right out of the box. And the problem with the Glock is that if you want a gun that's optic ready, now you have to get a Gen 5 MOS version. Well, I prefer the Gen 3. And you shouldn't have to charge me $200 more for an optic ready gun when every gun on the market is optic ready right out of the box. I mean, for Christ's sakes, the Ruger RXM for $350 is optic ready. So I'm just saying, you're getting more features for less money than you do with a Glock, and I find them to be as good. I mean, only time is going to tell, but, you know, 30 years from now, we'll see. But my experience with all the rounds I put through the Springfields and the Smith & Wessons and the Savages and the Rugers, etc., they've all held up fine. So, the Shadow 2 is a great gun as well. I like hammer-fired guns, and for the money, the CZ is a great gun. But for people on a budget that need a gun to defend themselves, and they don't have $1,200 to spend, there's still a lot of great quality guns out there. You can get the Ruger RXM for $350. You can get the Savage Stance for, you know, $400. There's a lot of guns out there that are reasonably priced. And don't get me wrong, I love the Shadow, but you know, everybody doesn't have a budget of $1,000. So I'm a little leery of pawn shops, to be honest with you. Um, a lot of the pawn shops are not going to let you fully break down the gun to see if the striker is broken. Um, and I don't like inheriting somebody else's problems. I just personally like to buy new firearms. And it is 10:52. We got about 10 minutes left, so keep it going. I'm sure you can find a lot of gems, though, at a pawn shop, um, especially old revolvers. And I may check out the pawn shop when I start looking at revolvers because, revolvers are uh, a lot more difficult to break. Yeah, and I agree with you, Jay Sharp. Every now and then I do buy a gun and that I don't like. And hello, Harper. Um, I'm sorry, I digress. So every now and then I do buy a gun I don't like, and I do the same thing. Um, I get rid of it and I buy something else. Sometimes I have a gun I just get bored with. But the problem is that I'm at the point now where I have very few guns that I'm willing to part with. Um, so it's just getting harder because I don't really have any guns left to trade in to get anything new. So um, all the guns I purchase, I rely on my um, income from YouTube, which is not really a lot because I don't have a lot of subscribers yet, and I'm still a small channel. Um, but we're getting there. But that's how I purchase my firearms is from my YouTube revenue, and that's thanks to all you guys that subscribe to the channel, watch our videos, share them, like them as much as you can. Yeah, I agree with you there, Jay Sharp. But in 40 something years, I have probably only on one occasion picked up a revolver that the timing was off on. Um, they're just very reliable. Um, and contrary to popular belief, a revolver can jam, and I have seen one jam, um, but it's very, very rare. And we got 5 minutes left. And again, uh, thank you all for joining. Hey, Adrian. Hey, brother. Thanks for joining. Um, we only do have 5 minutes left, but as always, brother, it's good to see you here. And sorry you missed my call last night, but I just wanted to thank you for the catch that you made on my channel. I incorrectly uploaded a video, and I deleted it and uploaded the correct one. So thank you for catching it. And they are all very cool rifles. I don't own many rifles. I'm uh, just not big on rifles because I've been shooting pistols my whole life. But I do have a few that I do like, especially my Remington 308 bolt action. Um, and like I said, I am looking forward to eventually getting a lever action 357 Magnum rifle. But it's going to take a while to get enough YouTube monetization to do that. Yeah, I like the old historic rifles and pistols as well. I mean, I wish I could afford to get an original Colt Peacemaker, but Uberti does make a pretty good replica. And one thing I don't have, and maybe one day I would like to get maybe a black powder pistol, just to have one. And answer your question there, Brother Adrian, no, I have not shot the Canik Medi MC9 Prime. I don't own one. I do have the Canik TP9 SC, which I enjoy a lot. I just don't own many Caniks. Caniks are great quality guns, and if you put them side by side with a Walther, they're just almost identical. And Harper Baker, thanks again, brother. Appreciate that. Well, that's good. I'm glad you like that one. Being I do have limited funds, there's a lot of gun that I do like, but I can't afford to buy them all until the channel starts growing. And Harper, thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate that a lot. Believe it or not, I do work very hard here trying to grow the channel, and it's good to get some positive comments. You get a lot of people that just nasty and leave nasty comments. So I appreciate the compliment. And Jay Sharp, you have a blessed day too, brother. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. A lot of new people on the stream today, which I'm very happy about, because more and more people are finding us. And if you could subscribe to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate that. We do this live stream every Saturday from 12 noon Eastern till 1 o'clock. And we do it every week. So if you want to become a regular, I'd appreciate that. We do have some regulars, but I do notice that we have more and more new subscribers every week, and I'm happy for that. We'd like to spread the word, and this whole stream is for you guys, and we do it to share knowledge. And this is a great way of doing it. Everybody learns. So, and Harper, thanks again for that. I like my collection of firearms. I'm glad you do too. All right, guys, it is 1 o'clock p.m. We will be ending this stream now. So thank you all so much for taking time out of your Saturday. I know you could be doing a lot of other things, and I appreciate that you chose to spend your time with me. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe, watch my videos, share my videos, like my videos, leave comments. That's how we get our revenue, and allows us to purchase more firearms and accessories to review for you guys. All the guns and accessories that we review were paid for from your donations. So thank you all for that. Thank you all for joining. Have a great, blessed day. Have a great and safe weekend. Be safe, my brothers and sisters. Till next time.